Sweden, a country once renowned for its high standard of living, low crime rates, and progressive social policies, is now facing an escalating crisis. In recent years, Sweden has seen a disturbing rise in violent crime, gang activity, and lawlessness that has caught the attention of both the nation's citizens and the international community. Once viewed as a model of safety and prosperity, Sweden is now grappling with issues that threaten the very fabric of its society. Today, we delve into the root causes of this surge in crime, the consequences for the country, and the efforts being made to restore order. The rise of violent crime. Sweden's reputation for safety has been irrevocably shaken. Historically known for its low crime rates, the country is now experiencing an alarming increase in violent crime. In particular, shootings and bombings have become a regular occurrence in Sweden's major cities. Cities like Stockholm, Gothenburg, and Malmö, which were once regarded as safe, are now facing daily headlines filled with violence. In 2023, the number of shootings in Sweden reached a record high. According to police statistics, there were over 300 shooting incidents reported in Sweden that year, a sharp increase from the previous years. These violent incidents are often linked to gang-related activity, where organized crime groups are competing for control of the drug trade and illegal firearms. The violence is not only confined to the streets, but has begun to spill into public spaces, creating an atmosphere of fear among citizens. These shootings are frequently followed by explosions, often linked to criminal groups using bombs to intimidate rivals or destroy properties. The increasing frequency of such incidents has made the headlines, not just in Sweden, but across Europe, drawing attention to the scale of the crisis. Gang violence, the key driver of crime. One of the most disturbing aspects of Sweden's growing crime problem is the rise of gang violence. Over the past decade, Sweden has seen an explosion in the number and power of criminal gangs, many of which are involved in the drug trade, extortion, and illegal weapons trafficking. In particular, gangs made up of immigrant youth, often from marginalized communities, have grown in influence. These gangs often operate in Sweden's poorer neighborhoods, which have struggled with high levels of unemployment and a lack of social integration. The gangs provide a sense of belonging and financial stability for young people in these communities, drawing them into a life of crime. The most infamous gangs in Sweden are the so-called Kurdish and Arab gangs, which are engaged in fierce competition for control of the drug market. The gangs fight over territory, leading to violent clashes. With easy access to firearms and explosives, these conflicts have led to an escalation in violence, with innocent bystanders often caught in the crossfire. The situation has become so dire that Sweden is now grappling with one of the highest rates of shootings per capita in Europe. While Sweden's police force is making efforts to combat gang violence, they face significant challenges. The gangs are highly organized, operate in secretive networks, and have a deep understanding of the criminal landscape. In many cases, law enforcement is under-equipped, and the law is too lenient to effectively deal with the rising tide of organized crime. The impact on society and daily life. The surge in crime has had a profound impact on Swedish society. Cities that were once considered among the safest in Europe are now living in the shadow of fear. For ordinary Swedes, the rise in gang violence has meant a shift in daily life. People are wary of their surroundings, and some areas have become no-go zones, where even the police fear to venture. The fear of violent crime has also led to a growing sense of insecurity. In Stockholm, for example, residents are now reluctant to go out at night, with many opting for private transportation over public transit. The number of Swedes installing home security systems has skyrocketed in response to the uptick in burglaries and home invasions, particularly in areas with a high gang presence. Malmö, one of Sweden's largest cities, has been particularly affected by this crime wave. The city has witnessed a spike in shootings, with many incidents occurring in broad daylight. Once a symbol of Sweden's successful immigration policies, Malmö is now frequently referred to as the country's crime capital. The situation is so bad that it has become common to hear news reports of a shooting or explosion every few days. Citizens are terrified and businesses are feeling the pinch as customers stay away from areas known for criminal activity. The underlying causes of Sweden's crime surge. The increase in crime can't be fully understood without exploring the underlying causes. While gang violence is at the forefront, several deeper factors have contributed to Sweden's struggle with rising crime rates. These factors include social inequality, immigration challenges, and a breakdown in the social fabric of certain communities. Immigration and social integration. Sweden has long had an open-door immigration policy, welcoming refugees and asylum seekers from across the globe. While the country has been praised for its humanitarian efforts, the influx of immigrants, particularly from war-torn regions like the Middle East and North Africa, has put significant strain on the country's social systems. Many immigrants face challenges in finding stable employment and integrating into Swedish society. As a result, certain marginalized communities have become breeding grounds for crime. In particular, Sweden's large immigrant populations in cities like Malmö and Gothenburg have seen high unemployment rates, poor educational outcomes, and an overall sense of disenfranchisement. For young people in these communities, gang membership offers a sense of belonging and a way to earn money in an economy that offers few opportunities. Economic disparity. Sweden is facing growing levels of economic inequality, particularly in urban areas. While the country is known for its strong welfare system, it hasn't been immune to the rising wealth gap. The wealthy are growing wealthier, while many working-class families struggle to make ends meet. The divide between rich and poor is stark, and in many areas of Sweden, those living in poverty are disproportionately from immigrant backgrounds. This economic disparity fuels resentment, with marginalized groups feeling excluded from the prosperity that Sweden is known for. This sense of exclusion, combined with the lack of opportunities for upward mobility, has created a perfect storm for crime. For many young people, joining a gang provides an escape from poverty and a path to financial success, albeit through illegal means. Efforts to combat crime and restore order. The Swedish government and law enforcement agencies have taken several steps to address the crime surge, but these efforts have faced criticism for being insufficient in addressing the root causes of the problem. Stronger police presence. In response to the increase in gang violence, Sweden has significantly bolstered its police force, increasing funding for law enforcement and providing new tools to combat organized crime. Special anti-gang units have been formed, and the police are cracking down on illegal arms trafficking and gang-related activity. Despite these efforts, the police remain stretched thin, and there are concerns that they are unable to effectively manage the scale of the problem. Criminal justice reforms. Sweden's criminal justice system has traditionally been known for its rehabilitative approach to crime. However, the increase in violent gang activity has led to calls for a tougher stance on crime. Many Swedes are calling for harsher penalties for gang-related offenses and more stringent laws regarding illegal weapons possession. The government has recently passed new legislation aimed at tightening control over firearms and improving police surveillance powers. But critics argue that these measures do not go far enough in addressing the underlying causes of gang violence. Social programs for at-risk youth. Several social programs have been implemented to offer alternatives to young people involved in gangs. These programs focus on providing education, job training, and social services to help individuals escape the lure of gang life. However, these programs have met with limited success, as many youths remain entrenched in criminal activity. The road ahead, a nation at crossroads. Sweden's struggle with rising crime is not an isolated incident. It reflects broader trends affecting several European countries. The challenge for Sweden now is to find a way to balance its humanitarian approach to immigration with the pressing need for stronger law enforcement and better social integration. The future of Sweden will depend on how effectively it can address the root causes of crime, reduce gang violence, and restore a sense of safety and security for its citizens. The question now is whether Sweden can reverse its course. Can it reclaim its reputation as one of the safest countries in the world, or has the flood of crime irreparably changed the nation's trajectory? Only time will tell.